If you've ever wanted to create a backyard retreat, this one should give you some ideas. As part 2 of our noteworthy small landscape series, we're in the backyard of the Dave Newman family. And what they've done is taken a look at a very average-sized backyard, decided what their goals are so far as family enjoyment and relaxation, and have created a backyard oasis with a series of water gardens, fruit trees, and so forth. And I want to give you an idea today of how they got started with their project. They moved into their house 9 years ago, and it was just a plain backyard, and the children were small then, so they had a large lawn area, a place for a sandbox, and a swing set. And as the kids got older, the backyard became a little bit more Dave's backyard, and he started adding in gardens and water gardens. They had some specific goals in mind. Off the patio here, they wanted to muffle average noises from around the neighborhood, such as cars and barking dogs, and so they wanted water gardens to have a nice, peaceful sound. They added this patio cover so they'd have shade right here to sit. Then they thought about the different aspects of gardening that they enjoy. One of those is water gardening, and they have 5 of them now, but they've added them gradually as time allowed, done all the work themselves, and ended up with a really nice effect in the backyard here. They also have a color scheme using perennial and annual flowers, and also trees such as the crepe myrtle here, working in hues of pinks, purples, and blues to give a cool, restful effect. In addition to that, Dave has enjoyed putting in a lot of different perennials that give a cool green effect. Many ground covers such as moneywort, different types of ferns and hostas, and different perennials that will give screening effect around the yard that we'll see in a little bit. They have a lawn area, but it's getting smaller every year, but it still gives you a nice patch of green in the center for family and friends to walk around. Then they have a vegetable garden. Now, when Dave wanted to put in a vegetable garden, he happened to be reading a book about English gardening. And in England, they see areas of the landscape as different outdoor rooms. So the vegetables have their own room that you don't see from the patio. It's screened by a large cattle panel, and he learned about using cattle panels on Oklahoma gardening. It has a large cattle panel, and it has 2 climbing roses on it that screen off the vegetable garden. Within the vegetable garden, he uses cattle panels to trellis the vegetables. Some of them have even been cut down to a smaller size and are movable so that as the crops are rotated in his 2 small raised beds, he can move them around depending on if it's a short or a tall crop. He's also used cattle panels in an arch effect, and in the garden they've grown hyacinth beans that look beautiful and complement the pink, purple, and blue tones of the garden. Then they also keep rabbits, and this is a way to recycle nutrients back into the yard. Dave and his family have only to go under the rabbit hutches and gather up nice rich soil full of rabbit pellets and scatter those around the garden whenever something needs fertilization. Then they also have other unique uses of cattle panels in the ornamental side of the garden. He's cut some hog panels down to short size, painted them flat black, cut T-posts down to a smaller size, and painted those a flat black as well. And this was to keep a family pet out away from the water gardens early on. In addition, there's a small electric fence around the yard for seasonal control when the plants are small to keep the pets away, but it's unobtrusive. Again, painted a flat black so it blends in with the landscape. Last of all, they have taken into consideration areas of the yard that get heavy foot traffic and heavy shade where things just don't grow well. So he's built a small deck, not built up very high, but a deck type sidewalk so that when you walk around the corner of the house that would normally have always been a muddy spot, it stays nice and dry throughout the season. One last gardening device we want to show you that Dave has made is this portable shade. He puts this in the raised bed gardens, and that keeps birds from eating seed that he puts out in the garden. It can shade new seedlings when they're first coming up. He can also lean it against newly planted shrubs and so forth. Well, hi, Dave.
Hi, Sue.
Thanks so much for letting us sort of peek over the back fence and see into your lovely backyard.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I noticed one part of it has an extremely tropical feel. You've got a little pelican statue and a gorilla and a banana tree. And how did you come to that design?
Well, I was raised in Southern California, and I was used to a yard that had a really kind of a tropical look to it. So when I moved to Oklahoma, I kind of missed it. So I wanted to at least create one area that had really kind of a tropical, kind of a cool look and feel to it.
Well, you certainly achieved it with that.
Thanks. Also, I've got a picture that shows a little bit what our yard looked like before we got started.
Oh, great. I love before and afters.
Yeah. This is a picture here that shows our backyard when we first moved in.
What a difference. Wow, you can see that you had a much larger lawn area, swing set for when the kids were littler. So that's, it has come a long way. And how many years have you been working on this?
It's been about 9 years.
9 years. I can see it really has evolved. You start out with some small flower beds, and that's one thing that we want to point out to you. If you're thinking about having a backyard oasis or retreat, it takes some time. First, think about what are your goals? What do you like to do in your backyard? And what types of plants do you like to have around you? And maybe think about, like Dave, memories from childhood of what feeling you want to have out there. And then slowly just start doing some plantings, and keep in mind that over time you can also achieve a backyard retreat just like the Newman family.